Hey, this is PJ with CLK Supplies and welcome back to part 2 on master key systems. Now in part 1, I went over the progression systems, I went over the rules and the steps. I also went over the top pin sizes and how you can adjust them. So if you haven't seen that video, there'll be a link in the notes below. You can watch it because what I'm about to go over is I'm going to be building on the information. Now, I am using the 80-20 principle here, where I'm giving you 20% of the information that's covering 80% of what you need to know. And from that point, you'll be able to build on your knowledge. For me, my goal here is to give you the information, to give you the skills, to give you the knowledge, to where if you find yourself out on a job that went from being just a standard rekey job to a master keying job, you can pull out a notepad and just get it done. The other reason is that if you are using computer-generated master key systems, which is a great idea, I use them every chance I used to get, okay? But it's good to understand them. So when you print out the sheets, you know what's going on and you can kind of figure it out, okay? Now, one of the biggest downsides to master keying is the amount of master pins that get put inside of the cylinder. Right? Every master pin you put in adds another shear line, it lowers the security, and it's just really not good. And if you're a person that really does not like adding extra master pins, which I think is close to about everybody, and at the same time you want an easy way to design systems, well then Holden-Berry systems are what you've been looking for. I mean, I like Holden-Berry systems so much, I got a tattoo right here on my arm, HV, Holden-Berry. That's how much I love them. Okay, maybe that's just Sharpie I had my daughter put on this morning, but you know, hey, you get the point. I love Holden-Berry systems. And for whatever reason, it seems that the progression systems seem to be just a lot more popular, even on small systems, where Holden-Berry is just, it's simple, it's easy, and they're even more secure. So let's go ahead and get started. Holden-Berry system rules. Rule number 1, never use master pins in all the chambers, right? So this is identically opposite of the progression systems. Rule number 2 is vary the same number of positions. In other words, decide on your Holden-Berry pattern, which we'll do in just a moment here. Now, I will put an equation below in the notes, in the PDF that you can print out. You can have all of this information I'm getting ready to put on this whiteboard, along with the rules and the steps, and you'll really be able to follow along if you want. You know, the beautiful thing about video is you can pause it, you can rewind wherever I get to, and make sure you get this figured out. Now, rules 3 and 4 are exactly the same as the progression systems, right? Rule number 3 is the master key should be using an even-odd or an odd-even key bitting. That way it's going to prevent shear lines with like all 2s, you know, a 2-2-2-2. And then rule number 4 is the master key should have at least 1 0 or most shallow depth available. In other words, and that way someone can't file down a change key to work as a master key. So in other words, like on a Schlage, like a 0 through 9 system, like we'll be doing here in a moment, the shallowest depth is going to be a 0, right? But in Quickset, it's going to be, you know, their depths are 1 through 6, 1 through 7, depending on what you're doing, and the most shallow depth would be a 1. Okay, so you got to make sure you have one of those in there. So those are the rules for Holden-Berry. Pretty simple. Let's go ahead and let's start going through the steps to develop a system. Holden-Berry system, step 1, is to choose your master key code or bitting. Now, you want to keep, you know, step 3 and 4 or rule step 3 and 4 in mind, right? We want to either do a even-odd or a odd-even and key bitting, and then we also want to make sure we have at least, you know, a 0 in it since this is a Schlage, right? The most shallowest depth. So we'll go over here to the whiteboard and we're going to put our code as a 41056. So as you can see here, this is an even, odd, even, odd, even code. Step number 2 is going to be to decide the pattern of Holden-Berry that you want to do. Okay, now I'm gonna just Holden-Berry one chamber, okay, for this system. That way you'll get a really good concept, you'll get a really good understanding of how to do it here. So the pattern we're gonna choose here is gonna be a hold, 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 there. So it's gonna be a one, so we're gonna hold all chambers but one. So this system is gonna be a one very chamber system. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's just write it out real quick. So that's our first one here. So the next one, we're gonna go hold, 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 very, hold. The next is gonna be a hold, hold, very, hold, hold. And the last one, or the next one, is gonna be hold, very, hold, hold, hold. And then the very last one here, right at the end, is going to be a very, hold, 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 hold. Should have spaced that a little better there. But so is what you're seeing here. Let me get a blue marker. Is we're holding one chamber in this system. So what we're doing is we're varying one chamber in the system. So right here we're varying the last one, and then the next one we're varying there, we're varying there, varying there, and you're varying there. So as you can see, we kind of move over each single one, okay? So is what we're gonna do here is now we're gonna go ahead and go to step 3, and we're going to write down our codes. So is what we're going to do here is we're going to put our master key, we're going to write it right here underneath here. So we're going to go 4, 1, 0, 5, 6. Now I want to point out, like if you're actually building your system and you understand this, you don't need to put all this Holden-Berry up here. I'm just doing that to show you how it goes and what it looks like. So you can do it if you want, but a lot of times you don't have to waste the time to do that, okay? So once so we have our code there. I'm just gonna put a line underneath it, okay? And now we're gonna vary out this one last chamber here. So just like the progression system, we're gonna go and we're gonna do a 2-step system, 2 depth difference. So we're gonna go, so it's 6, so we're gonna go 8, then we're gonna go 0, 2, 4. Okay, so the actual bidding is going to be a 4, 1, 0, 5, 6, 8, and then a 4, 1, 0, 5, 0, 4, 1, 0, 5, 2, and a 4, 1, 0, 5, 4. Okay, so we varied that chamber. Now we'll go to the next one here. So we'll put the master key up here again. So we'll go 4, 1, 0, 5, 6. So right here, this is the odd one. So we're gonna go 7, 9, 1, 3. Okay. Now, once again, I'll fill this one in. So put a line here for the master key. And we're gonna go 4, 1, 0, then a 6, 4, 1, 0, and then a 6, 4, 1, 0, then a 6, then a 4, 1, 0, and a 6. Okay, so now as you can see, we've held all the chambers except for one. So we've varied that chamber now we're varying that chamber. We'll go to the next one here. So we'll type the code up here again. So 4, 1, 0, 5, 6. Now we're holding this middle one right here. So we're gonna go, so it's an even number. So we're gonna go 2, 4, 6, 8. All right, now we can fill all this in again. 4, 1, 5, 6. And I kind of will fill it in like this. Now, once you get going and you figure it out, you don't even need to necessarily do all of this extra work writing everything in until you're going to actually make your system. So we'll just keep it going here and get this done. Okay, now that we've done that, now we'll go on to the next one here. So we're going to write the code again underneath these. So we're going to go 4, 1, 0, 5, 6, put a line on it so we don't get it confused, and we'll vary this one here. So that's gonna be a 1, so we're gonna go 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay, now we can do the same thing. We'll fill it in here. Let's go and put 4, 4, 4, 4, 0, 5, 6, 0, 5, 6, 0, 5, 6, 0, 5, 6. Just like that. All right, now we'll go ahead and we'll do the last one, right, scrunched up over here on the side. So we'll go 4, 1, 0, 5, 6. Now we're going to be varying the first chamber only. So we'll go here, and so we'll go 4, so then we'll go 6, 8, 0, 2. Okay? Now we can just fill all the rest of this in. We'll go 1, 0, 5, 6, 1, 0, 5, 6, 1, 0, 5, 6, 1, 0, 5, 6. Okay, so there we go. So we just progressed this whole thing out with doing a vary one chamber. Now, if we wanted to vary 2 chambers, 3 chambers, or 4 chambers, we can, right? So you would essentially keep this going. You know, we're gonna vary, Holden-Berry, 2 instead of the 1. Now, when you do that, you're not going to want to write everything out just like this. You're just going to want to hold the ones you're going to hold, and you just kind of progress out the ones that you're going to vary out that one chamber, okay, or the 2 chambers. And that way you can get a lot of codes really quickly doing it that way. Okay, so now that we have all of our codes, we'll go on to the next step. Step number 4, just like the progression system, is going to be to determine the unusable codes. Now, this again is where the MACS comes in, the max adjacent cut specification, right? Now, we are doing Schlage here, right? We're working with the depths 0 through 9, but then we're also, the max for that is going to be 7, right? So any combination of cuts next to each other that is greater than 7, we have to discard because they're not going to work properly and the keys aren't going to be able to get cut properly. So once again, I covered it in the progression video, but you really want to make sure you know the depths that you're choosing to work with, and then you also know what the MACS difference is. Now, I know some guys have a preference, and sometimes, you know, they don't want a number 9 depth period. They just don't like it. So then just get rid of the 9s, right? Just get rid of all the 9s. Or let's say you don't like a 9 in the first cut on the key next to the shoulder. Great, well, when you do your systems, just leave out the 9, right? Any one that has a 9 on it, you can just cross it out, or you can just skip it out of your progression steps, okay? So now that we have this, let's go through, and we know that, you know, Schlage, the system we're doing here is, 0 through 9 depths, and then the MACS is going to be 7. So we're going to go through here, and we're just going to be looking for anything greater than a 7 difference between the cuts. So once again, like once you know the depths, you know, and you know we're working with 0 through 9, it's real simple. You're pretty much looking for 0s and 1s next to 8s and 9s, essentially. So just kind of scan through here, and we're perfectly fine. We go over here, up, here we go. So we have 0 through 9 next to each other. So we're going to go ahead and get a blue marker here. We're going to cross this out. Now, just to be on the simple safe side, let's talk about this one right here with a 0 next to a 7. So real simply, if we go from 0 to 7, it would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a 7, right? So it's okay. Max adjacent means what's the maximum difference? What's the maximum difference between the 2, which is 7. That's okay. All right, so we'll keep going through here. We'll keep seeing there. Okay, we have a 1 and an 8. We're fine there. We keep going. Here we go. We have another 7 difference. That's okay. And then we're going to see right here the 4, 9, 0. That one's not going to work as well. Go over the last column here. We start seeing here. We see all those, and we're fine. Okay, so there was 2 codes in this that we could not use. Now, once we have that done, we want to go ahead and we want to number all of these, whatever way we want to number them to start getting them organized so we can go to the next step. So I'm just going to number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on and so forth, okay? Now that we have that, we can go on to step number 5. All right, now in step number 5 is when we're gonna do the math. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our master key bitting, right here, that we've used in all of these, and covered it up there a little bit, and we're going to write that down here. So we're going to go 4, 1, 0, 5, 6. And then we're going to take the change key that we need to use to pin up that lock. Okay, so let's just take, let's go with number 4 right here. Why not? So we're going to go 4, 1, 0, 5, 4. Okay, so we're gonna put a line here. Now, once again, if this kind of math, figuring out the bidding, if that math is confusing or you struggle with it, in the links below, I have a PDF document that you'll be able to put all your key biddings in, and it'll walk you step by step through it on how to actually get this bidding. So if this part makes you a little confused, just download the document, and once you go through the actual chart a few times, you'll get it. It's real simple, but I mean, I totally get it. It can be difficult doing it, but so let's go ahead here. Now, doing the math, all we need to do is we need to take the smallest number out of the two, which in this case they're the same, so it's just going to be a 4, right? And so that's going to be our bottom pin. Now, we don't need to put a master pin in here, so I'm going to put an X, right? Because there's 2 4s, so because that's the same. And that's really the beauty of the Holden-Berry style system and why I have a fake tattoo right now on my arm. Okay, so when we go to the next one here, we're gonna go, they're both 1s. So we're just gonna put a 1 down there because they're the same. And then underneath it, we're gonna put another X because it does not require a master pin. We'll go to the third chamber here. That's gonna be a 0, so we're fine there. So we'll put a 0 and we'll put an X underneath it. I like to put X's. Sometimes you can put dashes, put whatever you want, but it's always good to put something there to make sure that you know when you come back to it in 10 minutes or an hour or a month, that you acknowledge that you've done that math and that a master pin does not need to go there. So we'll go to the next one here, which is a 5. So we're going to put a 5 there since they're both the same. We'll put an X, no master pin. Okay, now this last one right now, which should make sense because in this system we only varied 1 chamber, right? So there should only be 1 chamber that's varied, that's different than the master key bidding itself. So we'll go right here, and so there's a 4 and a 6, so the least of those 2 numbers is gonna be the 4, so we're gonna put there. And then the difference between the 4 and the 6 is 2, so we'll put a 2 right there. Now this is really just the beauty of the Holden-Berry style systems, okay? Because if you look here, pinning it up is really quick and easy. I mean, you're just gonna take the bottom pin, 4, 1, 0, 5, and then a 4. Now, when you get those bottom pins in there, all you have to do is take a number 2 master pin and pop it in that last chamber, right? So not only does it use less pins, it's quicker to pin them up. And the beauty of it all is the amount of shear lines that we created for this master key system is very few, right? It's only 1 extra shear line here. Now, this is why I truly love Holden-Berry systems over the progression systems. And that's because, well, let's face it. I mean, if you had to choose between pinning up a progression system lock that you're gonna have to put at least 1 master pin in every chamber, or a Holden-Berry where you're only gonna have to pop, depending on how many chambers you varied, definitely max 4 on a 5-pin lock. Well, when you do it like that, well, that's easy. Right? It's simple, it's easy, and it's a lot quicker. All right, and so that is the Holden-Berry master key style system. Now, I hope this 2-part series was helpful. I hope that you have been armed with the information that you need to, if you're stuck on a job that turns in from a basic rekey to a master rekey, or you just want to have a little bit more information and know what your options are when it comes to master keying, I hope this was helpful. Definitely, like I've said a few times, download those PDFs below in the notes section. They're going to be so helpful to you, especially if all these concepts are new. Once again, I'm using the 80-20 principle here, and so I'm giving you 20% of the information that covers 80-ish% of master keying. There are going to be some different exceptions and some different formulas you can do for complex systems. However, if you take this information and you learn it and you really understand it, I'm confident that you'll be able to apply what you do know to what you don't know and get it done. So thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and put all your questions below. And if I get enough questions or some really good ones or people have some good points, I can always make up a follow-up video and kind of go through them. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.